Do you love wood chips? Should you love wood chips? Stick around and find out. Wood chips. Every gardener loves wood chips. If every gardener doesn't love wood chips, in my opinion, they should love wood chips. I try to get my hands on every single wood chip I can. Wood chips are the backbone of garden material, in my opinion. This is a full, living pile of organisms. Wood chips can hold vast amount of moisture. They can keep our soil structure light and fluffy. They slowly break down and just become new soil. They are the biggest particles in our blends, and they can add so much to our soils. Yes, possibly in the short term, they may tie up some nitrogen. However, if our soil is rich, adding some more wood chips to it isn't a bad idea. So I try to get every bit of wood chips that I can get my hands on. Seasonally, when the wood chippers come through town and trim the trees, I try to get every single load of that I can. You can too. You guys see them in town, stop and ask them, have them dump them somewhere. You will use them for lots and lots of resources. Now, I may offend some people here, and it's just my opinion, but this for mulch, for bark, is absolutely wonderful. Scott's Naturescape or any of those other brands is one of the worst things we can put in our garden area. Yes, they absolutely look beautiful. If you're into the look of them with the dyed, the red, black, brown, however they come, it's great if that's the look you're going for. However, when you read on the bag, not only are they dyed with unknown materials, but they're also sprayed with anti-mildew and other products to keep them from breaking down. And I love that wood chips slowly break down. They break down and they add to the ecosystem of the soil. But when we add a material that has a mildew blocker in it and a fungi blocker in it, all that does is defeat the purpose of building rich soil. So yes, it looks nice. However, many people that spread that on end up raking it off because after a year or two, it loses its color and now it has no use for them, but it isn't breaking down. Whatever is sprayed on it to keep it from breaking down just makes a bleached out wood chip, but it's not doing what it needs to do for us. So I love to find wood chips. I mix the wood chips in our soil. I spread these in our garden bed. The mycelium and other fungus that are building inside of a wood chip are absolute wonderful structures to our soil system. So if you can find wood chips, get your hands on wood chips. We don't want anything sprayed with anything that keeps them from breaking down. Because yes, after a year of these in our flower beds that get spread around, by the end of the year, they don't look as good as they do now. We add a little bit more. But in the end, I want them to break down. I want this to be my future soil in 4, 5, or 6 years. And I keep adding more and more. We add this to our raised beds. We'll mix it with our compost, probably 3 parts to 1. And so we'll just give our compost some aeration, some water holding capability, and the ability to not pack. If we're looking for soil that is smooth with no particles in it, that's not really the soil we want to look for. We want to look for soil that has all different sizes of aggregates in it. We want that soil to not be able to clump together. When 1/3 of your soil are wood chips like this, your soil will not clump together. It'll be light and airy, keeping your soil aerobic. We don't want it to be anaerobic. Anaerobics without air. We want our soil, our compost, and everything to remain aerobic. So by adding stuff like the wood chips and other fillers, coconut coir, we haven't talked about that very much. Peat moss doesn't do much for our soil at all. It has a little bit of acidic pH to it, but it doesn't carry any nutrient factor. All it does is keep soil loose and it helps with some water retention. But it's also a fine material that breaks down really fast. These particles aren't going to break down as fast. They're going to stay in our soil structure. They'll slowly break down. They'll get to be smaller and smaller. Where the peat moss is already a fine sponge, it's already ground up. So in just 1 year, it's going to disappear and we have to add more. Where wood chips will stick around for a long, long time and add to our soil. Like I said before, sure, they may trap some nitrogen for a year, but after a year, they break down and they become some of our soil. As this year comes around, try to find yourself some wood chips. Get your hands on them, dump them somewhere in a corner. They're not gonna go bad. They're gonna hang out for a long time. If they break down a little bit, like if I dig deep in here, look how dark the inside of this pile is starting to break down. It's starting to smell like soil. It's full of fungus. I can see some small organisms in there, and undoubtedly it's full of microorganisms, but this is starting to create soil in the center of this pile. So why not add that to my soil? Go out there, get yourself some wood chips, keep them on hand. There's so many things you can do to it. It'll build your soil greatly. Well, hello, Hazel. How are you? Do you want some wood chips? Do you want some wood chips? All right. Bye now. Bye.